Rev up your engines!
Well, don't say I didn't warn you, but I did. The Toyota Tundra V6 twin turbo, the engines are breaking. Now they're finally saying what happened. Toyota's recalling more than 100,000 of them because machining debris may have fallen inside their engines. These are all the twin turbo V6s. Now, it's bad enough over time they're going to wear out faster. The turbos, they have more pressure, yada, yada, right? Well, these are new vehicles now, relatively new. And they think that somehow when they machined the engines, they didn't clean them up before they put them together, and debris is inside eating up the engines. Well, that's a really horrific thing, right? What's Toyota known for? Dependability, engines that can last forever. You got loose metal debris running inside. It kind of screwed with Toyota because basically, if it was the case, they should have to replace every single engine in those things because you got metal debris. Well, it hasn't wrecked the engine yet. Let's see what happens. Unless Toyota's willing to give an indefinite years and mileage guarantee on these engines, it's a raw deal if they just don't go and replace them all. I don't know. Even Toyota says, Toyota has not yet determined the fix for the engine debris. The real problem seems to lie with faulty manufacturing affecting engines built over a specific period. And of course, if you get metal fragments in your car, first thing it's going to destroy are the engine bearings, specifically the crankshaft bearings. The crankshaft has bearings that go to the piston rod that go with the piston up and down, right? The bearings are the softest material. They're made that way so they wear out for the rest of the engine. So if they finally do wear out, you can take them apart and you only have to replace the bearings, not all the engine parts, just the bearings, right? But if debris gets in your engine, the first thing it's going to destroy is the bearings, and the pistons can let loose, knock holes in the engines. Bad things happen, right? Now, as far as I'm concerned, there is no way they can fix this problem. None. Other than replacing all the engines. Let's say they say, oh, well, we drained your oil and we flushed the system. We got the metal out. Maybe, maybe not. It can hide in little crevices, right? But the damage would already be done that the metal was in there wearing away parts of the engine. It just goes to show you. Even Toyota, their quality control is starting to go, you start making these things all over the world instead of Japan. They can't control it. You're building stuff in Mexico. It's not going to be built as well. So Toyota following the American companies, moving to Mexico, build them cheaper, and guess what? Just like I forewarned, Toyota, you make a mistake taking your V8s out of the Tundras, putting in a twin turbo V6, and what's happening now? The engines are blowing up. And Toyota said, well, we don't have a fix yet. Yeah, I got a fix. Build the engines right and replace every stinking one of those, right? And you know they're not going to replace 100,000 engines. I tell you right now, they're not going to do it unless they actually blow up. And the problem is, the bearing wear is so insidious. You could get wear, let's say there's some debris inside, and we flushed them out. And they flush them out free and clean them, right, and put new oil in. Those bearings are the softest parts. They've already been worn, right? And they're not going to check the bearings, because the only way you can check the bearings is by taking the engine apart, measuring the bearings, looking at them, see if they're worn. They're not going to do that. That would cost them a fortune. Maybe they don't listen to old Scotty, but I'll tell you, I know quite a bit about machines and what you should and shouldn't do. And you did what you shouldn't have done. Now it's coming to bite you. And this is even in the short run. These are newer engines that are having this problem, right? Imagine in the long run when the pressure from the two turbos on a V6 is going to wear them out faster. This is now. As time goes on, it'll probably be even worse. Well, it looks like the average Canadian is getting as smart as the average American because the EV consideration for new vehicle shoppers in Canada is dropping down. Hey, it's colder in Canada, right? Electric batteries don't work that good in cold weather. I have friends in Canada and they found that out. They're like, whoa, bad enough range in the summer and the winter, we lose 30 to 40% more because it's so cold. The people in Canada that did a survey found that less and less people are even considering an electric car. And this isn't the people who are buying them. This is just the people considering. A lot of people say, oh, I consider an electric car. So what? Doesn't mean they went out and bought one, right? Now they're not even considering buying one. Now less than 1 out of 10 Canadians said they would even consider buying an electric car. They haven't gone out and bought one. Those are the people, that means like 90% of them aren't even considering to buy an electric car. They're not stupid people, right? They realize they're expensive. It's cold here. There's no infrastructure. Just why I want to be stuck on a freezing cold night in the middle of nowhere in the winter. My car stops going and I freeze to death. Let's face the facts. Canadian government, of course, they're even more woke than the American one, where Trudeau and his ridiculous followers. we're going to be all green in Canada. Well, no, you aren't. It's cold there, right? And if people start really getting cold, they're going to vote you out and vote somebody else in that's going to continue to give them heat and gasoline so they can drive their cars and trucks around and heat their homes. Where is this magic electricity coming from? It doesn't come from the sky, right? Driving electric cars in a cold climate is one of the biggest negative things that they have. All right, here we go with more electric nonsense. So this time it's electric lawnmowers. Got an email here from Andrew Lays, and he says, Scotty, huge fan. I think you'd think this is hilarious. I live in East Tennessee. They are selling an Ego 42-inch last summer for $6,000. Nobody wanted to buy it. Now it's reduced to $4,500 and hasn't sold. I took pictures. You can see it's fading away. The stickers are going out. They're trying to push these lawnmowers even though they're super expensive. You can see they've raised the price of the stupid electric lawnmower. And next to it is one that the original list price is $2,500 less for a gasoline lawnmower, right? They're trying to, you need an electric lawnmower, not a gasoline one, blah, 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 right? You know how much power those lawnmowers use, spinning those blades, whizzing around, right? Putting an electric one, and the power that's needed is patently absurd. They can't go that far. Then they'll say, buy some extra batteries, right? That costs a whole bunch of money. I've seen these things. I knew somebody bought one. It said it mowed an acre. He got half an acre mowed and it ran out of power. So he's got to buy at least 2 spare batteries if there's anything going on where it's harder to mow, it's longer or something. Just ridiculous. These things don't make any sense. I had an electric lawnmower when I lived in Houston, but it plugged in, right? So I had a 100-foot extension cord, and I had a very small yard. My house was built on the whole lot was only 50 by 100 feet, so it worked perfectly fine. I had no problems with it, right? But if you need a riding lawnmower, like I do in Rhode Island now, or in Tennessee, you're not going to have a battery. It's going to cut the mustard, right? Then they're trying to sell these stupid things to lawn mowing guys that go all over the place mowing lawns. There's no way they'd spend all that money. They'd have to keep buying batteries, charge batteries, have a bunch of them lying around because they're doing acres and acres, right? The only thing that's going to work is a gasoline motor or an electric one with like a 10,000-foot extension cord. I read this article, can't help but laugh. Elon Musk used genius method to identify Tesla employee who was leaking information. He's using secret codes and stuff on text and emails, and he was able to figure out by the electronic signature who was the one who was leaking the information. Great. This shows what Elon Musk is good with. Computer crap. Just computer nerd stuff, right? He should have stayed in the computer nerd business instead of making all this money selling stupid electric cars that break down, they don't fix them quickly, cost a fortune to repair, they cost a fortune to buy, there's no real infrastructure for them, right? All that stuff. Hey, he needs to get back into the real cyber world where he belongs with the rest of the computer nerds, and they can hack each other's emails and play games, right? He's not a business guy, right? He just happened to be in the right place at the right time to make himself a bunch of money, and now he acts like he's some kind of genius. Elon, go back to the cyber world that you came from, maybe in your cyber truck, and leave the rest of us alone, because you don't know what you're doing when it comes to any of these corporations, any of these stuff. Government subsidies are propping you up. For a long time in the beginning, most of his profit was coming from selling carbon credits to other car companies, Just a scam. The whole thing's a scam. Here we go again. Flying cars? No. Flying motorcycles. They call it a motorcycle. It doesn't look like a motorcycle. It looks just like a fancy drone, right? Going to have tilting thrusters that can fly around. But, as per usual, that's a 3D rendering. That's not an actual drone flying over because they don't exist yet. The Czech company UDX has scale prototypes that they're testing out. They say it's a tandem 2-up. 2 people can go on it. It's not going to take them very far. I'll tell you that, right? You can do 142 miles an hour real fast, right? Has a 430 horsepower 4-motor setup that tilts. Some out of Star Wars, right? Each motor can move independently, so you can zoom all over the place. But they say it has an estimated 25-minute flight time and a 41-mile range. Yeah, that's what they say. 41 doesn't sound that good, but that's what they say. It's not going to have a 41-mile range going 142 miles an hour. Maybe if it's going 50 miles an hour or something flying around. They always give you these ridiculous figures. And, of course, it's going to be another rich man's toy, if it ever is made. right? Now let's do the math. Was it really a smart thing to have some clown flying around 142 miles an hour in this flying motorcycle? They're going to run into things. They're going to crash on your houses. You know? These things are not practical whatsoever. They're just proving that science can build something, and then rich people can fly around for a very short period of time before they come back down to the ground in a very expensive vehicle that they would then have to recharge. That would probably take quite some time to recharge, to fly again for another 15, 20 minutes up in the air. If you remember when I was a kid, they had in the Super Bowl the guy in the jetpack flying around. What else jetpacks? They only went for a few minutes before they ran out of power, and electric batteries weigh a lot, so, you know, they can't go that far. It's just kind of a showpiece for very rich people. I mean, hey, how many people have you ever seen with a jetpack? You know, it's not exactly a common thing. And that was like, what, 60-something years ago that stuff went on. They haven't really evolved all that much. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.